I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, peoples? How you doing? It is a great day. And let me tell you something. I have an author on the show. You guys know that we have a specific author YouTube channel that you need to go ahead and subscribe to. I'm going to put the link in the description box below so that you, if you love books, authors, writing, you want to be an author, all those things, you need to subscribe to that channel. But I have an amazing author today on the show, and I want to welcome Mr. John, and I hope I say this right, Elverson.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, I got it. Yay. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Nice to be here.
It's good to have you. I mean, I wouldn't have a show without you. So, I mean, I have to have you. It's really good. So tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm retired now. I used to be in IT industry, and before that I was in agriculture.
Wow.
My father was in the army, so we used to go around, move from place to place quite a bit when I was young.
So you said, wait, hold on a second. You said that your father was in the army and you moved around a lot. Did that kind of influence your writing at all?
Well, it's made me have an appreciation of other countries, and I was born in Kenya, and so I spent some time in Africa, and it's a lovely place.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I haven't been there in many years. I don't even remember because I was little. But I mean, I know it's been said to be a beautiful place. I just, I'm looking at everything that you've done. You've done so many different things. You've been in the IT industry. You've done that. Tell me, why this book and what influenced you to actually begin writing?
Well, I was doing some family history research, and I'd worked out my mother's father was fought in the First World War on the Western Front, and his younger sister after the war was the companion of a Russian general called Boris Erwa, and I thought it'd be interesting to find out what his career was, and because he was fighting on the Russian front against Germany and Austria.
Yeah.
And so he had written his memoirs in Russian. So I thought it'd be interesting to translate them and use them. It was a very interesting story. So I thought we could write a book about his exploits.
Well, isn't it amazing how you can find out so much about yourself because of this, ancestry or 23andMe or any of these other things? I mean, did you do any of those, by the way?
Well, I did a lot of research on my ancestors. There was a lot of photographs in the family, old photographs that I could. It was interesting to find out who was actually in those photographs and their stories.
Wow. I did some searching too, and it's just amazing how you can find different things. What did you find out about, your family or your lineage that you didn't know before?
Quite a lot. There was interesting connections to people in history that I found fascinating. You've heard of Mutiny on the Bounty. Fletcher Christian was related to some of my ancestors.
What?
And there were other people as well that equally interesting. that you hear about in the Charles Darwin, for instance. His uncle, I think, was related to my family.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
But there were a lot of other incidents
Uh-huh.
that too numerous to go into.
I got you. I got you. Okay, so wait, we have to go back. Charles Darwin, amazing. Okay, to have this lineage in your blood, in your bloodline, in your family. I mean, how does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me interested in history.
Mm,
Obviously, it doesn't make me any more important than I was before I found that information out. But it gives one an interest in history um, and the past.
mm. Does it answer some questions that you had before that you didn't have answers to, that you have answers to now?
Um, well, my grandmother's house had a large attic, and there were all sorts of interesting things stored in the attic. My grandfather, he died during the start of the Second World War,
Mm,
so I never knew him. So it was interesting to find all these things from his family. They were connected to India, so there was a lot of in the East India Company. So there were a lot of swords and spears and things that came from that country and so on.
wow. So all of the stuff that you've learned and all of the research that you've done, what amount of this have you actually included in your book?
Well, not really any of that got into the book because
Okay.
we're talking about Boris Erwa's
Right.
history really and his career.
Hmm.
So it was interesting to find out his life story
I got
um,
you.
in Russia and
So
his
he's not a part of your family.
sorry.
Is he a part of your family?
Well, indirectly
Okay.
speaking, because he was my mother's aunt was his companion after he escaped from Russia, from
Okay.
communist Russia.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So and you are kind of tied into this because of your aunt, your mother's aunt, who was, involved with him. So this is kind of, still history in your family, even though you're not relatives, you still have that history because it's still intertwined. I mean, I just find this so interesting. And a lot of people don't understand when you go back and you dig into your past or the past of your family members, things come up that you just never knew related to you. I mean, what did you find out? And I mean, not to give away anything in the book, but just like a couple of different things. I mean, like some hints.
In the book.
Yeah.
Well, that was Boris's history, and I found out a bit about his family history. The family originated in France
Hmm.
and moved to Russia, working in the service of Catherine the Great.
Oh, wow.
And so I, I think his great grandfather was an architect. And it was a period when St. Petersburg was being built up mostly by French architects and builders, which is why it looks the way it does nowadays, of course.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, me personally, I love history. When you look at his life and you see your life, what really kind of like makes you feel like a superhero in a sense where you wrote about his life, and oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened.
Well, one is of course humbled by, in comparison to some of the things that he did.
Mm.
Two wars, the
Okay.
Russia-Japanese War and the First World War, and he became a major general during the First World War.
Wow.
So he achieved a great deal, and it wasn't easy for the Russian army was underfunded. Germany had a far better armaments and training, so it must have been a very difficult time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then on top of that, the revolution started,
Mm.
and the Tsar abdicated, and discipline in the troops was completely destroyed by the revolutionary dogma that was being spread from St. Petersburg.
Mm. Mm-mm.
So he couldn't do his job
Right.
properly, and he eventually retired to the Staff Academy to teach tactics and strategy.
Yeah.
But then the Bolshevik Revolution started in earnest, and the Staff Academy was ransacked and destroyed.
Oh my gosh.
So he eventually escaped to the west through Finland.
Wow. Wow. You know, that story, it just runs so parallel for today. It really does. It
Well,
runs
yes,
very parallel for today.
yeah,
Wow.
a lot of refugees coming from wars that started by authoritarian regimes, just as the First World War was started in the same way.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Wow. So what do you want people to get from this literary accomplishment that you have, you know, with this book about such an amazing person who ultimately had to escape, I don't know how many times. I mean, you know, and again, it just runs so parallel with what's going on today. I think that this is relevant. I think that people really do need to check this out. But what do you want them to get from this?
Well, he was a very good judge of character, and he met a lot of um, the movers in Imperial Russia, and he knew quite a few of them quite well. So it's interesting to get his point of view on the people and the politics of the day. And the other thing, he is a very good writer, so his description of events and people are very good. So my job was very easy, just translating what
Wow.
he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, that is an easy job, right? But that is a really important one. I can't read Russian.
No. Well,
I hear
that
you.
is a problem.
That would be a really big problem. That would be a really big problem. But to know the history and to go back into the history, you know, we all, I mean, I know certain people are just like, oh, I don't want to read a history book. I don't want to be. But listen to this. If you don't know your history of where you came from, you're going to repeat it. And it's just
Yeah.
going to keep going and going and going.
Mhm.
You need to know where we come from, what happened, why it happened, when it happened, and how people negated it again so that we don't go into this again. And I just feel like we're going into it again.
Yeah. It's uh, horrendous what is happening in Ukraine, for instance.
Yes.
And again, you've got um, some guy who seems to think that he should control the world, a megalomaniac, just as the Kaiser in the First World War.
Yep.
And of course, Hitler in the Second World War.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I think your book is going to open up some eyes and maybe even teach us all the direction we shouldn't go in.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing is that Boris fought in what was, in those days, it was part of Poland had been divided between Russia, Germany, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Mm.
And he fought against the Austro-Hungarian, and that land is now Western Ukraine and southern Poland. So that's where the Southwestern Front, the Russian Southwestern Front was.
Wow.
A lot of the places have changed their names, but it's the same area.
Wow. And we're repeating history.
Yeah.
We're repeating history. I think we're repeating it, which is sad. It definitely is sad. So, I mean, there's all kinds of lessons to be learned. What is the name of this book and how can people get it? One more time, please.
The name of the book is To Serve the Russian Empire. And it's being published by the Regency Publishing Company.
Awesome. Awesome.
Very short.
Yeah, that's it. But we're going to put the link in the description box below so that we people can actually access it really easily. I want people to know that, we repeat history because we don't know our history. We need to literally go and read about it, study about it so that we don't fall in those pitfalls again and again and again, like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
It is just, it's horrible. Like you said, it's horrific what's going on. And I do so hope it stops. And I hope that there is a solution. I can't really say much more because I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
Yes, it is. But maybe that's the lot of humankind. Who knows?
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not. John, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it so much. I mean, you've been such a pleasure, and your book and just sitting down, pen to paper, or even on your computer. It's a love that you had to put it down and to make it available for others. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for interviewing me.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to have the book, the link, and all of that stuff down below so that you go ahead and check it out for yourself at the Regency Publishers. And I want to thank you again, guys, so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different. And please, if the history that you see is all messed up, how they say in my neighborhood, is jacked up, don't repeat it. Please learn your history so that we can advance as human beings on one planet. Thank you, guys. Until next time. Bye. I want to welcome you to Late Night with Yaya Diamond. I did.